Hello and welcome. If you're on the hunt for a dental assisting job right here in Ontario, you've landed in exactly the right spot. I want you to think about this whole process a little differently. It's not a chore, it's a quest. And this is especially true if you're new to the province. Navigating a new job market can feel like exploring a brand new country. But trust me, with the right map and the right tools, you're not just looking for any job. You're on a quest to find the career that's the perfect fit for you.
So, here's our game plan for today. We've broken this whole quest down into 6 chapters. We're going to start with research, then move on to finding those job openings. After that, we'll talk about making connections, crafting an amazing application, absolutely acing the interview, and finally, what to do with the job offer and beyond. By the end of this, you'll have a complete roadmap.
All right, Chapter 1, the game plan. Before you take even a single step on an adventure, you need a map. In the world of job searching, your map is research. Seriously, solid preparation and knowledge are what give you the power and the confidence to make the best moves. It's your foundation for everything else.
So let me ask you this. Do you really know the terrain? It's such an important question to ask yourself. I mean, you wouldn't try to climb a mountain without checking the trail conditions, right? The same goes for your job search. You have to understand the professional landscape you're walking into, especially if you're just getting to know Ontario's dental community. So, what does this research actually look like? Well, we can break it down into 4 main areas. First up, the labor market. You need to know what the demand is and what the typical pay is in your specific part of Ontario. Second, industry trends. What's new in dentistry? Are clinics using new tech like digital scanners? Third, companies. Really dig into the specific clinics you're interested in. And last, but maybe most importantly, research yourself. Get super clear on what you bring to the table and what you truly want in a career. Now, you might be wondering where to find all this info. Well, this slide is basically your treasure map. These aren't just random sites, these are the real deal. You've got the big picture stuff from the Government Job Bank and Statistics Canada, but then you have the ODAA, that's the Ontario Dental Assistants Association, wage survey. That gives you super specific data just for your profession right here in Ontario. Using these will help you know your worth when it comes time to talk salary. Okay, Chapter 2, Finding the Openings. You've done your homework, you've got your map, now it's time to actually find where those opportunities are hiding. This part is all about the practical steps of locating those job postings, both the ones that everyone can see and the ones that are a little more, well, hidden. And think about it like this. You have your map, but not all the treasure is marked with a big, obvious X. A lot of the very best opportunities, they're not just posted online for everyone to see. So the real question is, where is this hidden treasure and how on earth do you find it? And get this, check out this number. Some people estimate that up to 70% of all jobs are filled through what's called the hidden job market. 70%, that is huge. These are jobs that get filled through word of mouth, referrals, or networking. So if you're only looking at the big job boards, you could be missing out on most of the opportunities out there. So as you start digging for both visible and hidden jobs, you're going to need a command center. And your most powerful weapon here is actually pretty simple. It's a spreadsheet. Just look at this example. You can track the clinic, the date you applied, who you talked to, when you should follow up. This isn't just about being neat. It's about managing your sanity. It keeps you organized and lets you follow up professionally without losing track of anything. Which leads us perfectly into Chapter 3, the art of connection. Because to get into that hidden job market, you need allies. You need to build your network. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking as soon as you hear that word, networking. Yeah, it can feel awkward, right? A little transactional, maybe even a little gross. Like you're just trying to get something from people. If you've ever felt that way, believe me, you are definitely not alone. It's a super common feeling. But I absolutely love this quote from a TED Talk by Daniel Hallock. He says, "If networking ever feels gross, you're doing it wrong." That's such a game changer, isn't it? It suggests the problem isn't networking itself, but maybe, just maybe, it's the way we're thinking about it. And here is the secret. It's a simple but really powerful shift in your mindset. Stop walking into conversations thinking, what can I get? And start asking, what can I give? The second you do that, you go from being a consumer to a contributor. You focus on building real relationships, not just collecting names. Maybe you can share a useful article or just offer to listen. It feels so much better, and honestly, it's way more effective. Okay, on to Chapter 4, crafting your application.
Now that you're finding jobs and making connections, you need the right tools to introduce yourself. And on this quest, your most essential tools are your resume and your cover letter. Think of them as your personal ambassadors. They have to make a great first impression for you. And here's the reality of the situation. For any one job opening, a hiring manager might be looking at dozens, sometimes hundreds of applications. So the big question is, how do you make sure your application doesn't just get lost in that pile? How do you make it stand out?
This slide shows the secret perfectly. It's all about being specific, not generic. Look at the first one, responsible for chairside assisting. Okay, that tells me what your job description was. But now look at the specific one. Assisted in over 20 restorative and orthodontic procedures weekly. It uses numbers, it shows your impact, and it even mentions an outcome. That tells me what you actually accomplished. That's the key. Show your results. Don't just list your duties.
Now let's talk cover letters. A great one follows a simple structure. First, please, a personalized greeting. Do a little research, find the hiring manager's name. It's way better than to whom it may concern. Second, a strong opening that makes them want to keep reading. Third, and this is the most important part, targeted paragraphs that connect your skills to their needs. Show them you did your homework. And finally, end with real enthusiasm and a clear call to action.
Let's move on to Chapter 5, Acing the Interview. So your amazing application worked, and you got the call. This is it. This is the main event of your quest, the interview. It's where all that prep work really pays off. But hold on. Before we jump into techniques, let's get our mindset right. An interview is not a one-sided test where you're just being judged. It is absolutely a two-way street. This is your chance to interview them just as much as they're interviewing you. Is this the right work environment for you? Do their values match yours? Thinking about it this way gives you so much more power and turns it from an interrogation into a conversation. Okay, now for a killer tool to have in your back pocket, the STAR method. It's perfect for those "tell me about a time when" questions. So say they ask about handling a tough patient. You'd go, situation? We had a patient who was really anxious about their procedure. Task. My job was to make them feel comfortable so we could move forward. Action. So I calmly explained what was going to happen, I offered them headphones, and I just kept reassuring them. Result? They calmed down, the procedure was a success, and they thanked me on their way out. See? It's a perfect little story that clearly demonstrates your skills. Now, something else you might come across is a working interview. This is where a clinic might ask you to come in and do some hands-on work. It's a great way for everyone to see if it's a good fit. But, and this is a really crucial point here in Ontario, if the work you're doing is actually benefiting the clinic, like you're doing the tasks a paid employee would do, they have to pay you for your time. That's the law. So know your rights. And that brings us to our final chapter, Chapter 6, The Offer and Beyond. You did it. You navigated the quest, you faced the challenges, and you've reached the goal. A clinic has made you a job offer. This is absolutely a moment to celebrate, but it's not quite the end of the road. Now you have to evaluate the prize. You got the offer. That's amazing. And the temptation is just to say yes on the spot. But just take a breath. The most important question is no longer, do they want me? The question now is this the right opportunity for me? And that means you have to take a good, hard look at the employment contract. This table breaks down a few key things you'll want to look for. You'll see a termination clause. There are legal minimums for that in Ontario. You'll probably see a non-solicitation clause, which is pretty standard. But pay really close attention to this last one, the non-compete clause. It used to be that a contract could stop you from working for another clinic nearby if you left. But since 2021, for most employees in Ontario, those are no longer legal or enforceable. That is critical local knowledge to have in your back pocket. You know, a job search is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. And it can be tough emotionally. So how do you stay positive? First, create a routine. Set aside specific times for job hunting so it doesn't take over your whole life. Second, set SMART goals, things like, I'm going to customize and send 3 applications this week. It gives you small wins along the way. And finally, please be kind to yourself. Take breaks, get outside, and remember that this process does not define your worth. So let's wrap up with this idea, this entire quest. It's not just about getting a job or a paycheck. It's about finding your professional home. It's about finding that place where you feel valued, where you enjoy your team, and where you can really grow and thrive as an oral health professional. So you now have the map, you have the tools, and you have the strategies. You are ready. The only question left is, what's the very first step you're going to take on your quest? starting today. Good luck on your journey.